Long ago, in a bustling town on the edge of a vast desert, there lived a merchant named Karim. Life had been cruel to him. His business ventures often failed, and his fortune dwindled year after year. But Karim was a man of perseverance. Even when hope seemed lost, he pressed on, believing that someday his luck would change. One day, after yet another failed deal, Karim traveled home across the desert, his heart heavy with despair. As he made his way through the shifting sands, a fierce sandstorm struck, forcing him to seek shelter. Straying from the main road, he stumbled upon a patch of soft sand and began digging to anchor his tent. As he dug, his hands struck something hard, an old bottle buried deep beneath the sands. It was unlike anything Karim had ever seen. The bottle was ornate, covered in strange symbols, and sealed tightly with wax. Intrigued, he dusted it off and kept it with him, wondering what treasures it might hold. That night, as the storm howled outside his tent, Karim's curiosity got the better of him. He broke the seal and pulled out the stopper. In an instant, a swirling cloud of golden smoke burst from the bottle, rising high into the night sky. The smoke crackled with unearthly energy, and before Karim's astonished eyes, it began to take shape. From the smoke emerged a towering figure, a Jinn, radiant and powerful, his eyes blazing like embers. "Who has freed me from this cursed prison?" The Jinn roared, his voice echoing across the desert. Karim, trembling with fear, fell to his knees. "I didn't mean to disturb you, O Great One," he stammered. "I only sought shelter from the storm." The Jinn's fiery gaze softened as he looked at the humble merchant before him. "For centuries I have been imprisoned in that bottle, cursed by a wicked sorcerer. You, humble human, have broken the spell and set me free. For your kindness, I shall grant you a great blessing." The Jinn's voice boomed with power. "From this day forward, I will protect you and your descendants for 7 generations. Wherever your family goes, they will know wealth, health, and safety. This is my gift to you." Overwhelmed with gratitude, Karim thanked the Jinn with all his heart. The Jinn smiled and vanished into the night, leaving Karim alone with the promise of a brighter future. And the Jinn was true to his word. From that day on, Karim's fortunes changed. His business flourished, opportunities came from every direction, and his family rose to great prominence. His children and grandchildren inherited this prosperity, enjoying lives of privilege and abundance. But as the years passed, the family began to forget the source of their fortune. Generations later, Karim's descendants were rich beyond imagination. They built sprawling mansions, threw lavish feasts, and lived lives of extravagance. The story of the benevolent Jinn protector faded into legend, and the family's gratitude was replaced by arrogance. One night, at a grand feast in the family's mansion, a young and boastful descendant named Omar stood before his guests. "Our family's wealth," he declared, "is the result of our brilliance and ambition. The idea of some spirit's blessing is nothing but a foolish tale." His guests laughed and cheered, but Omar's words carried further than he intended. That night, as the guests left and the mansion grew quiet, a storm rolled in, an unnatural storm. The sky turned an eerie shade of red, and the wind howled with an unholy fury. Omar awoke to find the ground shaking beneath him. When he stepped outside, he saw a figure standing in the courtyard, the Jinn, towering and furious, his golden eyes blazing with anger. "You, ungrateful fool," the Jinn thundered, his voice echoing through the storm. "You have insulted the very blessing that built your fortune. Your family was once humble and deserving, but now you have grown corrupt and prideful." Omar fell to his knees, trembling. "Great Jinn, forgive me. I did not mean to offend." But the Jinn's voice remained cold. "Your words cannot be undone, nor can your actions. From this moment on, I withdraw my blessings. Let your family's cleverness and ambition sustain you, as you so proudly claim." With that, the Jinn vanished, leaving behind only the cursed bottle in the center of the courtyard. From that day forward, the family's fortunes crumbled. Their ships sank at sea, their businesses failed, and their grand mansions fell into ruin. Generations of arrogance and waste came back to haunt them, and one by one, the descendants tried to summon the Jinn. But the bottle remained silent. Many years later, only one descendant remained, a young woman named Layla. Unlike her ancestors, Layla had grown up hearing the stories of the Jinn and believed in their truth. Layla, now living in the ruins of her family's estate, found the bottle gathering dust in a forgotten corner. She held it in her hands and whispered, "Great Jinn, I do not seek wealth or power. I only wish to honor the kindness you once showed my family. Forgive us for our arrogance, and grant us the chance to live humbly once more." For a moment, the bottle glowed faintly, but no Jinn appeared. Layla took this as a sign to rebuild her life with honesty and gratitude, carrying the bottle with her as a reminder of her family's past. And so, the tale of the benevolent Jinn protector became a lesson, a reminder to future generations to honor the gifts they are given and never to take blessings for granted.